stars are in light, the weaver, we would know.
Hey, we're live, and like we're really live. Not like sometimes when we're all in our own personal offices. Today we are live from our summer staff meeting. Can we put the camera on everybody to show everyone who's all here? Everyone say hi. There we all are. All right, so we are live from our summer staff meeting. This is the first time this group has been together in 2 years, actually 3 years, I guess. So it's kind of exciting. We kicked off last night with dinner, and we're going to go all the way through tomorrow. One of the big reasons why we gathered our team together is because of the culture of our company. It's super important to us. It's a great way for us to remember what our core values are and share experiences. And we're going to talk about that this morning. We're going to do about a 30-minute live cast here. We are going to play a video in the middle. That's kind of new, so you'll want to make sure you stick around to see that. And then we're going to bring some other people up towards the end of the show. If you are watching live and you want to comment, go ahead. Although typically we have computers in front of us, so when people comment, we're able to see. Not today. We can't see the comments today. But our producer Shay, who is right behind the camera, if you have comments and you put them there, Shay will be able to relay them to us. I'm going to start off by introducing our guests. From my far left, we have Jim, Beth, and Deb, all from our team here. They've all been on the live cast before, so I know you know them. I want to jump in and talk about culture. So like always, I always prepare my questions in advance. Beth, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Culture and engagement are two of the most common words we hear thrown around these days. You could do a quick Google search. There's a million articles, a million videos. Everyone's got their theories on it. My first question might seem basic, but I think it's a good place to level set. What is a company culture, and how do you know if you have an engaged team?
So I'd say company culture is sort of the personality of the organization. So it's the vibe you feel if you work there. If you can imagine groups you've belonged to in the past or companies you've worked for in the past, some of them make you feel good. You describe it as, things that matter to you. There's quality, integrity, responsiveness, things like that. So it's sort of just the vibe, and you probably know when you're in an organization that has a culture that isn't right for you, it just doesn't feel like it fits. And you asked about engagements.
Yeah.
So what was the question though? How you know if it's good?
Yeah. How do you know if you have an engaged team?
So there are ways to measure it. You can measure, our Up Your Culture group actually uses a survey that measures engagement. So that would be the empirical way to know whether you have an engaged team. But there's a lot more to that. You can sense engagement if your people are showing up to work and they're showing up happy and they're really bringing themselves to the job, that's engagement. And that's really sort of how this all started. I don't want to take up a lot of time, but we used to, Deb and I especially, we focused on talent. And what we found is that when people were highly talented but not engaged, they didn't reach their full potential. They didn't activate that talent of theirs. So I would say you'd know if they're engaged by if they're reaching their potential.
All right. So do all companies have a culture, even if they're not being very intentional about it?
Absolutely. Every company has a culture, good or bad. So many people say, I don't have to pay attention to the culture. Well, it's too late. You already have one. A lot of times, when it's bad when people are leaving, they're not getting their job done. There's a lot of absenteeism. There's a lot of things that can let you know whether someone is engaged. And the culture is good or bad, but you have one, good or bad, but we want you to have a good culture.
Yeah, it certainly is frustrating, especially if you take the time to hire right and you take the time to train people the right way and give them the right systems and processes. And if they're not engaged, they're not showing up, they're not doing their best, they're not invested. What a waste of money.
Absolutely.
I mean, really, this is the Improving Sales Performance Livecast. It is about generating revenue. It is about driving performance. If you don't have an engaged staff, you're really throwing away a lot of resources. So what are those key components of a good company culture? How's that work?
When we studied the most engaged companies, what we found is they had 4 things in common. And so we have really focused on those 4 things. We call them the 4 engagement elevators, because when you focus on those things, you are able to elevate engagement in your organization. So we start with shared mission, which is about making sure everyone knows where they're going and why. And people development, because every person's unique individual growth and development matters, and together is what grows the company. Valued voice, it's all about letting people know that their opinions matter and they want to be heard. And then earned trust is setting the stage for people to understand their leaders' intentions and have faith and trust in their leaders.
Great. So Jim, I want to bring this to you as a managing partner here at the Center for Sales Strategy, and also someone that works with a lot of our clients and have worked with a lot of clients over the years. Let's talk real life. What happens when there's somewhat of a challenged or even a toxic culture in an organization and the leadership doesn't do anything to fix it or doesn't pay attention to it? What happens in real life? What do you see?
What it looks like in real life, a lot of things happen. One is turnover, right? Regrettable turnover. And we've worked with some organizations, and when we've come in, have been turning over 30% of their sales team. Okay, that's very expensive. And I talk to C-level executives and regional executives all the time. If you have a sales staff of 100 people, you're turning over 30 of them every year, 1.5 times the annual salary. Start doing that math. So I said, why don't you put $500,000 as a line item in your budget next year? That'll be the cost of regrettable turnover among your sales team. I could never do that. The board would kill me. I said, but you're doing it anyway. That's why you're not making your net operating income number. So that's one thing that happens. The other thing is they lose a recruitment edge. Okay, you should be a place where people want to work. I really want to work for this company. I'm looking for the right opportunity. I'm knocking on the door. When you've got a questionable culture, it's just the opposite. There's a war for talent. It's really hard to find good people. The other thing that happens is, and people don't think about this, is they don't retain customers as well as organizations, okay, who do have a good culture. And, all of these things are tremendously expensive. I do hear when I talk to some of these executives, like, we think culture is important. It's a good thing. As soon as business gets better, we're going to make it in some sort of investment and try to improve this. I'm like, time out. Business is never going to get better until the culture improves, but it's sometimes hard for people to see that.
So that's a great segue. So do companies, is there data that would suggest that companies with a great culture outperform companies with a average culture or not? So, is there an ROI to culture, and what is it?
Yeah, well, I think Beth, you have some stats there, right?
Yeah. So Deb and Jim and I were huddling earlier, and we just wrote down a few memorable stats that we wanted to share. So companies that have engaged employees and strong cultures, they have 5 times more revenue. They're 3 times more likely to retain.
Say that one again.
5 times.
So
That'd be
times
enough
more
right there.
revenue.
It's like,
you would think so.
We're done.
right?
Yeah, because you think about that. So many people chase money, try to hit budgets, and then I'll worry about my people. But they hit their budgets when they worry about their
Right.
people.
Even if
first.
that data is wrong and it's
Right.
only like 3
Half that.
times or half, 2.5
Right.
times.
Yeah,
Right.
can I jump in there for a minute?
Yeah.
So how does that happen? Why do they have 5 times or 4 times more revenue, whatever the number is? It's a big number. One is they retain customers. They have fewer customers that leave them over the course of a year. And then secondly, the people that are engaged are constantly looking for ways to serve customers more effectively. And by the way, you can't mandate that. It's like, hey, I want everybody out there, you're supposed to be engaged, okay? And I want everybody to go to great lengths to serve our customers. You can't mandate that, right? Everybody's sitting in the room. We could say that, we can't legislate it, but if you are part of the culture that just, you love what you're doing and you get satisfaction from working with customers, you look for ways to solve problems, to prevent disputes from happening, to keep customers delighted. That's how these numbers come about. That's how they become
We
real.
experienced this actually with this meeting here because there are so many hotels in this area.
Yeah.
And we selected this one specifically for an employee. We, many years ago, had the most amazing service, someone who went above and beyond and made us really feel like he cared about us as a group. And he just left a really good taste in our mouth. And so we booked this hotel and actually ran into him last night. He remembered us from many years ago and said he had been furloughed for 8 months because of COVID and he could not wait to get back. He just felt like his happiest place is when he is able to work and serve.
By the way,
customers.
we're at the Marriott. We're
There you
at the Legacy Marriott
Give him a little plug.
in Plano, and his name is Sergio, and he is the best. If you can have an event here, you should, and you should ask for Sergio.
One
He's the
engaged
best.
employee.
Yeah.
Yes.
brought
It's
all
a
this
great
business.
example.
I'll also add that I feel that everybody on our team, everybody in this room right now, one of our core values is responsiveness. And so much of that is because we're engaged. We want to
True.
help our clients. We
Mhm.
want to do the right thing for our clients. And that engaged feeling is what gets this whole team going. every
All right,
day.
run through those
Oh,
stats.
All right.
I
So-
want the stats.
5 times more revenue. They're 3 times more likely to retain their employees. It's pretty big. 20% increase in profitability. They have a 20% increase in sales over those that are not as engaged. And what I just found mind blowing is 65% of employees are disengaged. Various levels of disengaged, but 65% of employees are disengaged. And here is where you get to the super mind blowing part. 40% of those people plan to stay in their jobs.
Oh, so what's that Richard Branson quote? It's like, what I train
Oh,
people.
train them well enough.
What if I train people and they leave? And someone says, what if you don't train them and they stay?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, can I add a point on that too? When you get to performance issues, I was talking with some executives from a client of ours, and they have their largest market, they lost 2 managers within a week of each other. And so they were doing some conversations with these managers before they actually departed. And, you know, here's what they heard. It's like, you know, I feel bad leaving my team behind because I care about these people, but it was easy for me to leave this company. To me, that's a dagger in the heart.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be hard to leave a company. Now, people are going to leave companies. They get a big opportunity. It happens every once in a while. But how easy or how difficult was it to decide to leave? It should be extremely difficult to leave a company with a good culture.
Yeah, one of the things going on right now, and I know if anyone does any sort of search online for the Great Resignation, that seems to be the buzzword, right? The Great Resignation, which really just says over the next 6 to 9 months, a lot of people are going to be switching jobs or rethinking or deciding whether or not either if they're going to decide to stay or they're going to decide to leave. They're going to do one or the other. Is it possible to use culture as a way to attract people and to keep them there? Is that like something that business leaders should be doing?
Absolutely. If you think of companies like Zappos, I mean, everybody, hopefully, I think most everybody in here has used Zappos, bought shoes, but everybody that works there, their mission is to help people. They can't wait to help people. They're going to find a way to help you. They're totally engaged and people want to work there just for that feeling that the reason for being speaks to them. And that's really when you're engaged, you get it. You understand what the company wants and you want to be a part of that. Something really cool that we do at Up Your Culture, we, with the 4 engagement elevators, we spend time with leaders, which goes to Jim's point. If we start with the top and get the leaders engaged, they'll engage their people. But every time we complete an elevator, our managers receive a badge that they can put on LinkedIn, and to be able to say to the world, I'm really into culture. This is me. I'm a people developer. That really is a great way to recruit people and get people to know a little bit about your culture, that this culture matters to me as a manager and a leader.
I think, and go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add something that just hit me as you were talking. So we in the talent department, we have studied for years. Mindy has been running the study, I want to say 7 years. Is that about right? On where our clients are finding their superstar employees. And what has been pretty consistent all of those years is employee referrals are the number one way that companies find their very best performers. And nobody's referring anyone to their company if they're not engaged, if they don't have a
True.
strong culture. And so that helps recruitment
That's
as well.
score.
Yeah. I think as a business leader or sales leader, if I hear I can increase revenue 5 times, or I hear I can increase profitability,
It's not easy though.
and what I have to do is focus on culture, I'm making culture a big part of my plan moving forward. I'm not going to let it just by chance. So let me throw this out here. Because of COVID, because of everything that we had to do over the last 15 months, there's become a lot of new working models, working hybrid, working remote, working completely virtual, in office a few days, not in office. Is it possible to still have an engaged team and a fantastic culture, even if you don't all work in the office together?
Exhibit A.
Yeah, right.
Turn the lights on and cue the music.
I'll take a stab at that first.
Yeah,
You
go.
guys might have a comment, but well, yeah, we have an entirely remote culture or a company, and I think one of the best cultures I've seen. We work with clients that are figuring out a hybrid culture, and it's just going to take a little more thought. But there are a lot of ways to do that, and in the office, you have the luxury of having a break room or, people around you. So companies, we assume that that's where you'll have the best culture, not necessarily, a ping pong table in a break room does not make a culture. You actually have to put forth the same effort
Right.
there.
It just causes ping pong to happen.
That's right. Not culture.
So here's what we're going to do. 3 years ago, we got together for a summer staff meeting, and we invited a film crew in to video us and have us responding to random questions and prompts that we put up on the wall. We made it a culture video. I think it's been viewed several million times on
Right.
YouTube. Yeah. Or a few.
Or maybe not.
But zero.
we were going to go with it.
It's just a few zeros. Don't get bogged down. We're going to play that, and when we come back, we're going to give you some insight into what we're doing at our summer staff meeting this week.
Nice.
The Center for Sales Strategy is a company that really exists to help improve sales performance. We have a statement we use called our reason for being, and that's turning talent into performance.
Lead G2 helps businesses sell smarter and faster using inbound marketing and sales enablement tactics.
End Up Your Culture's reason for being is increasing productivity by elevating team engagement. Engage your team, grow your business.
It all starts with the quality of people that we have working at our company. Together, these 3 divisions help achieve total revenue performance for an organization.
We have 3 core values: quality, integrity, and responsiveness. And we live and breathe those things every single day.
One of the things that is so different about this job than any other job I've had before would be the depth and the breadth of relationships we have with our clients.
We work with customers all over the country, some of the most well-known, well-respected. They still have things they're trying to achieve. We help them get there.
And I think that's something that our clients really value, is that they know working with us, we're going to keep things consistent and moving along no matter what is happening internally at their organization.
And it makes us feel like we're all a part of each other's lives, even though we don't see each other that often.
I think we project that to our clients. They know that they can count on any one of us. Our goal really as a group is just to make a difference for them.
We're small enough that we don't have the silos and the bureaucracy, yet we're also big enough that we have the resources that we can do some pretty cool things.
It's fun, it's collaborative, but I also have that room to be creative and grow.
So if I can help other people do that, it honestly is a dream come true.
I really was sold on the Center for Sales Strategy and Lead G2 because of the people. The only place that I've ever worked where I truly feel
respected, I'm rewarded, I'm valued, and I'm needed. We just work with a really committed team, and I think that shines through to our clients.
There are a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and I'm continually learning and trying new things and expanding my growth.
It's such a diverse group of people. It's a fun group, and I love to work in a fun environment. That motivates me.
We don't really want people to be obsessed with certain rules or certain protocols to follow, but we want them to use their instincts.
You're encouraged to really think differently, think independently, and given the freedom to be able to take those ideas all the way to completion.
You know, that we're treated as professionals, we're given the tools and the resources, and then they give us the freedom and the trust to go out and do what we do best.
It's a lot of fun, it's always interesting, it's always different, it's always kind of new. And
we have this sense of community that is different inside of the Center for Sales Strategy because we're not in the building every day.
Everybody's opinion matters. There's so much collaboration.
The culture of this company is so warm and inviting.
It's a sense of family. Everybody's close. We all support each other.
Feel like you're family and that you're more together. And everyone's always willing to answer questions, give you advice, run by an idea. A happy client, happy employee.
People at CSS, they're the absolute best in the world. All right, look at this. We changed people.
Hey.
So we have 2 Stephanies and a Danny. That's how this is going to go. So that was our culture video. I really hope that you guys liked it and enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make. And one, asterisk by the video is you have to have a good culture to create a culture video. It's the video doesn't make the culture makes the video. That's like my disclaimer when people see that. All right, so we have just kicked off our staff meeting. Like I mentioned, we started with dinner last night, and we're about almost halfway through day 1. How would you describe, the first segment, we talked about culture in general. Mm-hmm. This segment, we want to talk about our culture here at CSS Leads You To and Up Your Culture. And by the way, I think Shay has the Up Your Culture banner. I know probably when people watch this, they're going to wonder, what is this culture? Can I get a piece of it? You can, and the Up Your Culture banner should be up on the screen right now. That's how you get a hold of it, or it's upyourculture.com. All right, how would you describe to someone who doesn't know us or anything about us, how would you describe our company culture?
Okay, I'll take that one. So you heard Beth reference in the first segment that it's the vibe. We have the vibe. We have it. So because we're all together, which was really kind of cool, I ran around the room just asking everybody in one word, describe our culture. And so here's some of what I heard. And I would agree with all of these: genuine, inclusive, awesome, caring, collaborative, inviting, authentic, fun, family, special, transparent, committed, alive. And that came from everybody in this room. And so that's really cool that it's not just me describing it. It was from, more than half of the group here today.
Yeah, I love that. So the mistake I think some people could make is to think that culture is an event, right? Oh, yeah. It's time to, it says on my calendar that today is the day we talk about culture. That would be the mistake that people would make. Culture has to be part of every day. Right. So what are some examples at our company that we bring culture to life day in and day out? What do you guys see?
I can go. So yeah, some of the things one thing that comes to mind, just because we've had lots of new hires recently, is it's in everything we do. Like we're actually thinking about it in everything. When we're building an onboarding plan, when we're figuring out what's going to make someone comfortable and help them feel like they understand our culture and they feel welcomed in all the ways, and also understand our values. So it's really just like kind of ingrained in all the little interactions, and we're kind of always going back to it. So is this meeting aligned with our culture, with our core values? Is this process aligned with our core values? So I think it's just kind of becomes a way of being.
Yeah. It's intentional.
Yeah, very intentional.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of culture, right? Is that it is intentional. It's every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just going to add, there's more tactical things that we do in addition to what Danny was just describing, like our High Five Fridays and our Touch Base Tuesdays. And this is all done through our Facebook, team scoop page that we have, or when we do our first Friday culture calls, and when we share different things going on in the company, or of new employees, as you were describing. So there's a lot of things that we do regularly, daily, weekly, monthly, to support the culture?
Sure. And going off of the new employees, I get the pleasure of creating a welcome basket for every new employee. And I think about when I got it, sometimes you start a job and you get a bunch of swag, just general swag from your company. But these are so catered to the person. Like I got something for my cat and something for my son, and I like to cook, so I got a cookbook. So it just makes you feel from that very first day that we're glad you're here and we're getting to know you right off the bat.
Yeah, that's a great. I also think those are great examples of the culture that we have with each other. Also know that a lot of people comment on the culture, our exterior culture. Like the one thing that I always hear about when I'm talking to our clients is our responsiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like we've become famous for our responsiveness, which is actually a lot of pressure. If we're being completely candid, it's a lot of pressure to have that type of response. You get back to someone like an hour later and you like feel bad. It's like, I know this took an hour, and they're like, I didn't expect it for a day. But it is really kind of special when, and the story I always love to tell is I was meeting with a client, and a salesperson came in and said that what they couldn't get into the CSS website or whatever. And the director of sales at the time said, did you email the help desk at CSS? And the person said, yeah, I haven't heard back from them yet. And the DOS didn't miss a beat and goes, that's impossible. It just didn't happen.
No way.
You didn't email the help desk. There's no chance you emailed the help desk and that you didn't hear back from them. And the person goes, well, I was gonna email the help desk. We took care of that problem right away. All right. Everyone always wants to know the tactics, right? So let's give some people some tactics. We're only a few hours into our staff meeting, but already we've done some pretty cool culture building stuff. Share some of the things that we've either done so far or that we're planning on doing to the extent that you can reveal that demonstrate our culture, just to give people an idea of what this is all about.
One thing I've loved is the focus so much like on the welcome baskets of the individual, right? So yes, we talk about our company timeline. We just did a great segment where Jim Hopes led us through that. But then we had a chance for everybody to come up to this timeline on the wall over there that you can't see.
Can we see it? No. I don't
this
think we can.
amazing
Imagine
tree,
it's over there.
that was built on the wall, and everybody added their leaves of important things in their personal and professional life. And I just love that because, and Jim said it perfectly, that, it's our timeline, right? This is all interconnected. It's not like your work and then your life. Like this is our life. And I think that's a great example of how we care about the individual beyond just, what your job is here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And also, so we has some fun facts that we all put together. And so we have to guess who they are. So it's actually getting us together to be more collaborative. And when you're more collaborative, and that just builds the culture. And it's fun to get to know people outside of just work, like you were saying, like where they've traveled to, like crazy things that have happened to them. And it just builds this real great sense of camaraderie.
Especially when you're a remote company and you don't have as many of those opportunities to just connect casually.
Right.
This is like really the
no water cooler.
Fun time that we get.
This is our water cooler.
This is our water cooler.
Yeah.
Some of us don't want to go to bed at night. We're like, we're going to keep talking. I want to keep hearing stories and connecting. And that all just feels really good peppered throughout all the meetings.
Well, I will tell you that no one has been more excited than me to get this group together. I've been waiting for this. I think for like a year, I've been doing a countdown every single year. 52 more weeks until we get together. Because I think the culture of a company is super, super important. It helps that everyone is engaged and lean in, but it also just makes it more fun, right? It's nice when your work isn't work. Right? It's just kind of what you do and you enjoy it and all of that. Hey, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on up here and being in front of this large studio audience. Give yourself a round of applause.
Yeah.
If you be so kind, if you are watching this on YouTube and you could like, subscribe, and share it, we always like that. We're getting close to a new milestone, and we always like to hit those milestones. So if you could do that, we appreciate it. And again, thanks so much for joining us. And if you have questions about our culture, feel free to reach out. Someone's calling about our culture right now. Can't answer that. So that's kind of weird. All right. So thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
stars are in line.